on a Saturday to help you learn just a little bit of English. I'm going to hopefully be live in a moment. Give me a moment here. It says it's going live. It says I'm live now, so hopefully it is live. Once again, welcome to this live English lesson. I'm Bob the Canadian. Remember, even if you aren't watching this live, this is a useful tool for you. There will be questions that people will be asking. I will take questions from the form that you can find in the chat. Either Dave or Todd will share the link to the form. You can use that form to ask a question. I do want to start by saying hello to Alan and Digital and Julia and Boss Strong and Beryl Wilson and E Ting and Bernadette and Natalia Illusion, Jack Brown, Miha. Oh, hi Natalia. It was nice talking to you yesterday, by the way. Dave the Canadian is here moderating. Todd the Canadian is here as well. Again, please follow these rules for the next hour while we learn a little bit more about English. Please use only English in the chat. If you have a question, there will be a link to a form you can use to ask the question. I will then put the question there and I will try to answer them as quickly as possible and in order. Thanks to all of you who are here. If you are not a subscriber, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below. And if you want to help support my channel, please consider joining as well. But let's get to the first question. I know that there will definitely be a question now. I put a link to the form up earlier. Let's see in a moment whether there is a question. Here we go. So first question is from Ruslan. Here we go. Ruslan says, hello, Teacher Bob. No questions today. I just want to say thank you for the great lessons, and I'm very fond of them. You are so kind and a positive person. Well, thank you very much, Ruslan, for that. Let me do my normal check here. Everything sounds pretty good. Maybe a little crackly, but that might be because we are outside. So thanks, Ruslan, for that. It is nice to get some positive feedback from my viewers out there. It's awesome. So thank you very much. Next question is from Eduardo. Hello, good morning. Please pronounce or and or. So the first or is an oar that you would use in a boat. Okay, so you would use, wait, that's a paddle. So if you paddle a canoe, but you row a boat with oars. Hopefully you can see the difference while I act it out. But they are pronounced exactly the same way. So you could say, I was in a boat and I used the oar to make the boat go forward. You could also say, this morning I had to decide whether I wanted coffee or tea. So both oars are pronounced exactly the same way. Next question is from Alan Oliviera. Hi, Teacher Bob. What do you think it's necessary? Oh, little correction here. What do you think is necessary to be a happy person? I think this question came up the other day. I think I said the thing that makes me happy is a good night's sleep. When I can sleep for a good 8 or 9 hours, that makes me happy. But I do know scientifically, they have said that earning enough money to pay all your bills and to feed yourself and to have a little bit extra for something fun to do with your family or with your friends is generally something that is a baseline. So you need at least that to be a little bit happy. But after that, I would say being married and having kids is another thing that makes me happy. But I think everyone needs to find their own thing to make them happy. A lot of people saying hi. Rod VIP's in the chat. Hi, Rod. Good to see you. Let's see here. I saw Brent from American English with This Guy has popped in. KK is here. Michelle Otashen is here. EMN Mindset is here. Paulo, Sergio, Huang Trong, Jewel Yang. Good to see all of you. Thank you very much for being here. Let's see here. Martin says, hi, Bob. Could you explain the difference? So a little correction there, Martin. Please, could you explain the difference between how to say a sinner and a singer? Thanks. So a sinner is someone who, if you are a religious person, a sinner is someone who doesn't listen to the laws or rules of their religion and they do something bad. So you would say they are a sinner. Some people believe that it is a sin to commit a crime. Okay, it's against the law to commit a crime, but if you are a religious person, you might consider it a sin. And if you did break the law, you would be a sinner. A singer is someone who sings. So listen again, sinner is the first word. Sinner, S-I-N-N-E-R. That person is a sinner. Or that person likes to sing and they are a singer. So there's just a slight difference in pronunciation on those two. Let's see here. Next question from Merv. Merv says, "Hi teacher, how can I practice speaking at home?" So a little flip on the words there, Merv, just to correct the sentence, instead of speaking in front of a mirror. So a couple of things that you can do at home. One thing that I really think is important is that you sing out loud when you listen to English songs. I think it's important that you record yourself and then listen to yourself afterwards and compare to a native English speaker. And I think it's very important just to narrate your life. I think it's important to describe the things that you are doing while you are doing them. So right now I am doing a live stream. Right now I am going to check the audio. It's definitely, the audio is a little crackly, isn't it? So sorry about that today. I'm not sure why that is. Or maybe it's just me. So those are a few things that you can do. So narrate your life would be, when you wake up, you say, "I am getting up. It is 7 o'clock. I am going to go to the bathroom. I am going to make breakfast. I am eating breakfast." So you simply describe everything that you are doing as the day goes along. Could someone in the chat just let me know if the audio sounds good? Maybe Todd can let me know. Yeah, so Martin Zed says, "You have the wrong microphone today. Your voice is not as clear as usual." Yeah, and I'm not sure what's causing that. Let me just double check. So I think the sound is passable. When something's passable, it's good enough, but it could be better. I wish that it was better. I will figure this out before next week. I will make sure the sound is better. Let's see. Next question is from Johnny. Johnny says, "Hello, Bob. Is there any difference between don't you like him and do you not like him?" So there's a slight difference, because if I say to someone, "Don't you like him?" it means that you think they probably should like him. Like, "Don't you like him? He's a nice guy. Don't you like him?" But if I say, "Do you not like him?" then I think I'm just asking for the person's opinion. So there's a very slight difference between the two, and it's kind of hard to explain. But what I would say is, if I said, "Don't you like him?" I'm actually also communicating maybe that you should like him. But if I say, "Do you not like him?" I'm probably saying, I'm just asking for a clear indication. Todd says it might be the gain level. It sounds like the mic is peaking often. Yeah, and I experimented with that, Todd. I turned the gain all the way down earlier. So anyways, I'll have to figure out whether it's simply because we are outdoors. So next question. This is going to be a tricky one for me. Margaretha says, "Hi, Teacher Bob. Please explain the difference between caveat and proviso. Are there some more modern and less formal synonyms to these words? Best wishes." So caveat would be like highlight. So one caveat of being a YouTuber is that I make a little bit of money from advertising. So one highlight or one benefit. So a caveat can be like an important point of something. A proviso, I'm going to have to look up to make sure I don't get this wrong, because sometimes what I think is the meaning is not the actual meaning of the word. So a condition, stipulation, or limitation in a document. So I'm going to stick with that formal description. And then let's make sure that I had caveat right as well. So let's see here. Caveat is, yeah, so it's saying on Google they can be very similar. I can't think of a good example of it. So I'm going to move on from that question. Tough question. Those are words we do not use very often in English. You would probably use them more if you were a lawyer or if you worked in a law office. Next question is from Vita from Ukraine. Vita says, "Hello. Could you explain the difference between terrifying and terrific and pronounce the word geyser? Thank you very much." So if something is terrifying, it means it makes you scared. Okay, so if you go on a roller coaster, it could make you very scared to go on a roller coaster. So you might find the roller coaster terrifying. Terrific is awesome. So I think it's terrific that there are a lot of people watching this live stream, okay? So when you say something is terrific, it's good. When you say something is terrifying, it's very scary. Hey, I want to say thanks to Slava Knyazev for becoming a member of the channel. You can see that they have their name will now be in green, and they will have a little crown beside their name as well. So thank you so much, Slava, for joining the channel. Next question is from Vitaly Smirnov. Hi, Vitaly. Hello, Teacher Bob. Long time no see. How are you doing? I'm doing good. Thank you for your lessons. You are very welcome. You can see Vitaly use the phrase long time no see properly. This is something we say to someone in English when we haven't seen them for a little while. So you'll say to someone, hey, long time no see. How are you doing? I'm doing well, Vitaly. Thank you so much for asking. I just want to shout out to some people in the chat. I see Miriam saying, hi, Bob. Nice to attend your interesting lesson. Could you help me how to become an English online teacher? Well, I don't know a lot about how to do that, but you could start by working for someone like Preply, where you could become an online teacher and they will find students for you. And then Andrew Tan Kyav says, hello, Bob. Good evening. Greetings from Southeast Asia. Hello to you as well. Next question is from Roman. Roman says, hi, Bob. Thanks for your videos. I hope you feel awesome. I do. What's the difference between I love and I do love? Why sometimes do natives use do when it's not necessary? So we use do to emphasize. So if I say, I love ice cream, I love ice cream. If I want to emphasize it, I can say, I do love ice cream. So it just means I'm just being a little more, how would you describe it? I'm emphasizing it a little bit more, or I'm saying it a little bit more strongly. So I love ice cream and I do love ice cream. You can even hear in my voice how I'm doing it. Rajesh Singh, please don't spam the chat. Thank you so much for cleaning that up. Todd and Dave. Sorry, I have an ant climbing up my leg. So I'm not enjoying the insects outside right now. Let's go to the next question though. From John. John says, do you recommend to change all the multimedia language, including videos, social media apps, to learn a language more quickly? Well, that depends. Like, I have my work laptop is set to be in French. I set my phone to be in French because I'm a French speaker. It's a language I need to practice a lot. And it made it slower for me. So it really depends. If you need your computer and your phone to be functional and easy to use for work, I wouldn't change them to English. I would leave them in your native language, but certainly it can help. What I do recommend though is that if you read books because you like reading, start reading in English. If you watch TV, start watching shows in English for sure. Let me see here. Just a reminder, folks, please don't ask questions in the chat. Even though I do read the chat from time to time, you need to use the form to ask a question, and Todd or Dave will link the form. But definitely using the form is the right way. Sometimes I don't get to all the questions, so please just be as patient as you possibly can. Next question is from Digital Communication. Says, hi, teacher. When I followed other teachers from you, I was so bored to learn English. I seem to be learning only with you psychologically. What should I do? Well, first of all, it is important to watch other teachers as well. You'll notice on my channel, I usually do lessons where I'm outside and I teach phrases. Sometimes I'll go somewhere and do some teaching at a location. And so I try to make the video fun, but learning isn't always fun. So you should definitely be watching some other English lessons on YouTube, and you should definitely be watching some English television. So I'm happy that you're watching my videos though. Thank you very much for that. But yeah, that would be my recommendation. Next question. Layla says, hi teacher Bob. My big greetings to Brent. So Brent is from Learn American English with this guy. He's in the chat right now. So some of my viewers and some of his viewers know each other because they go back and forth. And Layla knows Brent from his videos and his live streams as well. Do you like sun tanning in the summer? No, I don't. I wear suntan lotion all the time. I do end up getting a little bit of color in the summer because I have pale skin and I burn and tan very easily. So you'll notice, I think you can even see that I do have a tan line. So this is my normal skin color and this is my neck color right now. So I'm a bit of a redneck. So Rodrigo and I talked about rednecks yesterday. But yes, I don't like getting a tan, but I do certainly throughout the summer get a little bit of color. That's how we say it. Let's see here. Next question, Gleb from Russia. Hello, Teacher Bob. How are you doing? I'm doing good, Gleb. Could you tell how to say I don't know in diverse ways? Is diverse a synonym for different? Thank you. Yes, so you could say, could you teach a few different ways to say I don't know? Or could you teach some diverse ways to say I don't know? Both would definitely work. Just let me check my audio one more time, folks. Yeah, it definitely sounds like the microphone is clipping a little bit. That would be the description that I would give it. Let me just get the bug out of my hair. So I don't know. I'm not sure. I do not know is a way to emphasize it. So you, instead of using a contraction, you say, I do not know. So if a teacher says, what's the answer to number 2? And you say, I don't know. And then they say, what's the answer to number 2? I know you know it. You can say, I do not know. Well, don't yell it like that. But if you say, I do not know, it's just the uncontracted form of it. So I think we like to a lot of times say, I'm not sure would be a definite replacement for that, Gleb. Let's go to the next question. Let's see here. Alex from Ukraine says, hi Bob. Hey Bob, hope you're doing well. I'm doing well, Alex, thank you. What does it mean when we say the phrase, I can tell? It means that you notice, or it means that you're aware of something. So if someone says, hey, I got a new haircut, you could say, yeah, I can tell. I can tell that you got a new haircut because I remember your hair being longer and now your hair is shorter. So you could say, I can tell. So that's definitely that's definitely the meaning of it. Sorry, I need to stop being distracted. Sometimes with my live lessons, everything works really well, and sometimes I get distracted. So I'll try to be less distracted right now. Next question is, Zara says, what is the difference between this is important to me and this is important for me? So they mean the same thing. I would say they mean the same thing. You know, when you say learning English is important for me because I want to get a job someday, you could also say learning English is important to me because I want to get a job someday. So I would say they are very, very similar. Let's see here. Next question. Nathan GR, hello Teacher Bob, how are you? Could you please help me with these words, tout or touting? Thank you. When you tout, let's get the exact description from the internet for tout. Because it means that you, basically, when you tout something, you're telling people about it loudly. So for instance, if you go to a market and someone is saying, hey, come over here and buy my flowers, you would say that they are touting their wares. It is not a common English word, okay? It is a rare thing to hear someone say. So I wouldn't worry too much about that word. It's very, very rare and not used very often. Let's see here. Next question is from Ferris the Torontonian. Hi, Teacher Bob. Happy Valentine's Day and Happy Canada Day. So Valentine's Day was a while ago, but thank you for that. That is awesome. And Happy Canada Day. So Canada Day was a couple of days ago. Today is actually July 4th in the United States, but on July 1st in Canada, we celebrate Canada Day. So Canada Day is the day that Canada was born. I think we turned 153 as a country. We are a very, very young country. Why is there an S at the end of Valentine and not in Father? Thank you in advance. So we do say Valentine's Day, but we also say Father's Day. Okay, so there is an S on Father's Day. I think that's what you're asking. Definitely there is an S on Father's Day. Let's see here. Next question. Ooh, this is going to be tricky. Steve says, hi Bob, what is the difference between diagnosis and diagnostics? For example, his research is focused on COVID diagnosis or diagnostics. Thank you. So generally we use the word diagnosis when a person is trying to figure out what someone is suffering from. So if they are sick, they're trying to diagnose and come up with a diagnosis. Diagnostics is usually when we use electronics to figure out what's happening with something. So when you are hooked up to a blood pressure machine, that we would say that they're using medical diagnostics. Okay, so they're using a machine to diagnose you. So that would be my explanation. I'm pretty sure that's exactly how I would differentiate between the two. Let's see here. Next question. Nyung Dat says, hello teacher. Hi Nyung Dat. Thank you for your amazing English videos. You're welcome. I have a question. Is it necessary to speak fast like a native speaker? No, it's not necessary to speak quickly. I think a lot of times when people are first learning English, they think that they need to learn to speak quickly, and it's not super important to speak quickly. It's important to speak clearly. It's okay if you have an accent, but you need to speak clearly, and you need to have conversations. Usually when people start learning a language like English, they tend to read and they tend to watch and listen to things, and they don't write or speak or have English conversations very often. So I would rather that you're having slow English conversations than speaking very quickly and badly and not having a lot of English conversations. Speed comes with time. Yeah, that's not too bad. So again, more slow English conversations are better than better than fewer fast English conversations. And speed comes with time. Just like when you learn to play a sport, when you have the soccer ball and you're moving up the field with the soccer ball, when you first learn, you're very slow, but as you practice, you get a lot faster at it. So don't worry too much about speed at the beginning, for sure. Let's see here. So someone's watching crime or police television. Ario says, hola, Mr. Bob. What's the difference between a killer and a murderer? They are the same thing on TV, by the way. I was watching the anime of Detective Conan. Anime is Japanese animation. Thank you. So definitely they are the same thing. If you are watching a television show and it's a show about the police and they need to solve crimes, sometimes they will say they're looking for a murderer, someone who kills people, or they're looking for a killer. They use the word interchangeably, for sure. Let's see here. Next question is from Lolly Lolly. Bonjour Bob le Canadien. Give someone the runaround and give someone the brush up. Same meaning, merci. So we only use the first phrase here in Canada. We don't use the phrase give someone the brush up. It might be a British phrase, but we do say give someone the runaround. So when you give someone the runaround, you don't give them a straight answer. So if they say, did you eat the last cookie? They could say, did we have cookies? And you could say, no, did you eat the last cookie? And they could say, well, I had a cookie 2 days ago. And then you could say, no, did you eat the last cookie today? And then they could say, I think that Joe ate the last cookie. So instead of just answering you clearly, they're giving you the runaround. Politicians are really good at giving people the runaround. So they're really good at not answering questions directly. Arena says, hi Bob, I'm confused with the usage of the word overrepresented. Is this similar to misrepresented? Thanks and best wishes from Ukraine. So let's talk about the government a bit more. If my area sends 5 people if we elected 5 people in my area, we would be overrepresented. There would be too many politicians in my area. Right now, there is 1 person who represents this part of Ontario. So I am well represented. But if there were 5 elected officials for this area, I would be overrepresented. If, though, the 1 person who represents this area does what they want instead of what the people who live here want, we would say that we are misrepresented. So he is not doing a good job of representing us. Hopefully that made some sense. There's a lot of motorcycles going by today. I should have turned the camera around so that you could see them. Next question is from Andrew. Hi, Andrew. What is the difference between talk and speak? Thank you in advance. So right now I am talking. Right now I am speaking. Sometimes I need to talk to my kids about something. Sometimes I need to speak to my kids about something. So there are many uses where they are exactly the same. But where it gets a little bit different is I would always say I speak English, okay? I wouldn't say that when you're learning a language, you always say you speak the language. So I speak French and I speak English. You wouldn't use the word talk, okay? So let me recap. Sometimes I talk to my kids at night. Sometimes I speak to my kids. Sometimes I talk to people at work. Sometimes I speak with my students after class. But when you talk about a language, you would always use speak. So you would say, I speak English. Let me get to the next question here. It's from Juan Pablo. Hi, Teacher Bob. Greetings from Argentina. What do you like most and least about Canada? So I added a little word in there. I added the word about. And Canadians actually say the word about kind of in a funny way. And huge hug. Thanks for the hug. What do I like the most about Canada? I like that we have elected officials and that we have free health care. I mean, we do pay a lot of taxes, but if we do have medical problems, we can simply go to the doctor and it does not cost us anything. So I really, really like that about Canada. What do I like the least about Canada? Sometimes I feel like in Canada, the education system maybe could be a little bit better. I wish sometimes that people who live in Canada who feel like they don't need to learn, I wish they would learn more. So sometimes when you live in a country like Canada, people don't value education as much as they would in another part of the world. In the chat, I see someone saying, I love this channel. Bob's English is so clear that I can easily understand. That's awesome. I'm glad that you can understand me. Let me get to the next question, though. Cash register. By the way, a cash register is something in a store, but cash register has the question, hello, Teacher Bob. What is the longest road trip you have ever taken? The longest road trip I have ever taken, let's see here. So I went to Florida a long time ago. I was at university and some of my friends and I went to Florida. And so we drove all the way from Ontario down to the state of Florida and through all of the other states along the way. So that is the longest road trip that I have ever taken. Next question is from Eli. Eli says, hi, Bob. How are you? I'm good, Eli. Thank you. Can I use, I've studied English for 2 years and I've been studying English for 2 years for something which is still happening. Thank you so much. Yes, you can say, I've studied English for 2 years and it doesn't mean you stopped, okay? If someone says, oh, how long have you studied English for? Oh, I've studied English for 2 years. It doesn't mean that you've stopped learning English. You could still be learning English. You could also say, I've been studying English for 2 years, which does communicate a little more that maybe you are still studying, but neither of those mean that you stopped, okay? Hey, Elias Gomez has given a super chat and says, hi, Bob. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Elias Gomez, for that. That is awesome of you. Thank you for being such a great supporter of my channel. I really, really do appreciate it. I'm going to do a little switch here for a sec, everybody. So this is the part of the live stream where, as a thank you to all of my members, so you can become a member by clicking the join button below. The chat is going to be members only for the next 10 or so minutes. And if you are a member, you can ask a question directly in the chat, and I will be happy to answer it. So if you have a question, go ahead and ask that in the chat. I will still keep looking at questions from the rest of the viewers as well. But for now, we are in members only. So Leela Babu says, hi, Bob, could you please tell me when I use home and house? So technically, the house is the building, and a home is anywhere that you live. So if you live in an apartment, you call that your home. If you live in a house, you call that your home. Now, we've kind of messed things up a bit in English because we use house and home interchangeably. So you can buy a home. You can also buy a house. You can be a member of a home builders association. So people build homes. So, but generally we use the word home as the word that represents the place where we live. So apartment, etc. And house is for the actual building, but they are used a little bit interchangeably. Julia Oli says, hi teacher, would you please explain the phrase, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime? It's from a movie. So this means don't commit the crime if you aren't willing to be in prison for the crime that you committed. So when we say do the time, it means to be in prison. Okay, so that's basically what they're saying. If you aren't able to be in prison, then don't steal the car. That's how that would go. And you'll hear this in certainly movies about crime, etc., and police. S. Prasanna, I like your videos. It is clear English. I easily understand. I'm happy to help. Luciano Namod, I listen to Sadhguru to practice English too. Very cool. I'm not familiar with that person, but I'm sure that is very helpful. Vitaly Smirnov, is it a place for a fire behind you? Yes. So let me get the right finger up here. This is a fire pit, we call it. There's a couple of logs laying here from the other night, and we have what we call a grill above the fire. So the other night we had a fire and we put some hot dogs on the grill right there, and we roasted hot dogs on the grill. Elias Gomez, Professor Bob, could you give us an example using the phrase blown away? Well, I'm blown away every time I see how many people are watching these live lessons. So right now I'm blown away that 506 people are watching this. So when you're blown away, you're just surprised, okay? If someone gives you a really cool birthday present, you could be blown away by it. Like, I was blown away. My mom gave me a brand new car for my birthday. My mom didn't give me a brand new car. That's just an example. Rod VIP IDP, how long before do you choose the topics for Friday's lessons? So Rod, I keep 2 running lists in a document. One is video ideas for my Tuesday video, and the other list is video topics for my Friday videos. And I usually have about 5 or 10 ideas in there. So usually the Friday videos I know well in advance what it's going to be. And there's some specific ones I do, like I'll do one on the season of autumn or fall, and I'll do one on winter, those kinds of things. So I do keep quite a long list. Whenever I have an idea, I quickly pull out my phone and add it to my list. Sam the Taiwanese says, hello, Teacher Bob, how to describe a person who likes to challenge a lot? Let me back up, though, to Rod's question. I did want to say hi to Rod. Rod was the first place winner in the giveaway. So we had a nice chat yesterday. We had a lesson, an English lesson, and it was a lot of fun. So it was good to talk to you, Rod, and I look forward to next Friday. Sam says, hello, Teacher Bob, how to describe a person who likes to challenge a lot? So let's see. When someone has a lot of backbone, it means that they are someone who likes to argue or likes to challenge someone a lot. When someone is determined, they are someone who likes to challenge you a lot. When they're children, you could say they like to talk back. So those are a few ways to describe it. Let's see here. American English with this guy. Do you have fireworks and barbecues for Canada Day? Yes, but this year there were very few fireworks because of COVID-19. But definitely we barbecue. That's why we had the fire pit, because we had a little barbecue for our kids. Let's see here. Abby says, hi Bob, do you think non-native people should speak without accent at all? I think that everyone has an accent after a certain age. When you learn a language like English or French when you are a child, you will have hardly any accent. But someone like myself, when I speak French, I have an English accent, and I think it's fine to have an accent. In fact, I think it's beautiful when people have an accent. Gleb says, teacher, why don't you teach on a different platform like Preply? Because I have a full-time job, Gleb, and I make YouTube videos, and that's all I really have time for. So Vladimir says, hello, Mr. Bob. Have you ever been in the Yukon Territory? Could you describe this place? Thank you in advance. Have a nice day. No, I have not. I would love to go to the Yukon someday. All I know about the Yukon is that it is somewhat cold. Julia says, thanks, teacher. No problem, Julia. Lolly says, could you tell us something about Canada Day celebration, the 1st of July? So normally we would go and see a concert, and at the end of the concert, there would be fireworks. That is the most common thing that we do as a family. So usually there is a concert in a local town or city, and we sit outside in lawn chairs and watch the concert, listen to the music, and then watch fireworks. Let's see here. Luciano says, yeah, you are so cute. I'm not sure if you're talking about me, but thank you for that. Let's see here. American English with this guy is talking to Vladimir about Nunavut. I've never been that far north, but I would love to go. Kirill Belov says, hello, Teacher Bob. Thank you for your channel. Could you describe the difference between terminate, cease, accomplish, and adjourn? Sorry for the long question. When you terminate something, you stop doing it. Okay, so if I was to terminate the lesson, I would click the end lesson button. If I was to cease doing the lesson, I would click the end lesson button. So very similar. Honestly, we use the word stop much more in English than terminate or cease. When you accomplish something, it means you start something and you finish it, and it's something that you really are proud of. So I was able to accomplish a lot when I was younger because I worked really, really hard. So when you accomplish something, it means you were able to do it. And then adjourn simply means to end a meeting. So if you were in a meeting, we could say, I think we need to adjourn. It's 5 o'clock. It's time to come home. Rod says, me too. Awesome, Rod. Elias says, Professor Bob, can we use I fainted or I passed out, and is the meaning the same? Yes. So if I was really hot, I could faint or I could pass out. Both mean to become unconscious. Miha says, I don't understand what sophisticated means. Well, could you give me examples? So I'm not sophisticated. There's the opposite. If I wore a suit and tie and kept my facial hair trimmed and I always had a haircut and my nails were always short, and I was wealthy, you could say that I was sophisticated, okay? So when someone is sophisticated, they usually always look good, they're fit, and they're just wealthy, and they're sophisticated. When an item or a thing is sophisticated, it can just mean that it's hard to understand or that it's somewhat complicated. Let's see here. Thanks for your answers from Lolly Lolly, no problem. Vladimir says, I've never been to Canada. You should come to Canada someday. Brett says, I've never been to Russia. That's a great response. Thank you, Mr. Bob. Is ya means ha? I'm not sure. I think in English, if you say ya, you're saying yes. Okay? So I'm not sure what it would mean in other languages. S. Prasanna, Sura, I understand what you're saying, but I'm talking is very difficult. Tell me what to do. Practice your speaking as much as you can. If you have mastered reading and listening, you need to actively work on your speaking, either by yourself or with another person. Elias, thanks for the examples, no problem. Vitaly, talking to Brent, next time you're in Helsinki, I'll take you to St. Petersburg. Very cool. And then Vladimir, what is the plane flying near your house? That way, Vladimir, is the American city called Buffalo, and that way is the Canadian city called Hamilton. And there are often airplanes flying between those two airports. So I do sometimes have airplanes overhead. Sometimes, though, people just fly around to look at the countryside. Let's see here. Next question from Rod the Brazilian. How do I differentiate at the end and in the end? Thank you so much. So at the end of the show, they sang another song. Okay, so maybe you were at a concert. You could say at the end, the band came back on the stage and they played another song. So at the end of the show. In the end means kind of in summary. So you could say after working for several different people, in the end, he decided he didn't want to be a farm worker. So it's kind of a conclusion. Okay, so at the end is something that occurs when an event is over. Whereas in the end is when you conclude something. So if I tried 3 different cameras, in the end, I ended up buying a camera from Canon. So that would be a good example. Hey folks, let me get to the next question here. This is going to be a challenging one. Wait, what happened here? Answer the question. There we go. Munir says, hey Bob, coupe, or could you explain the difference between have in the third form of the verb and have in the third form of the verb? That would be so kind of you. No, I can't. I'm not well aware of all the forms of the verbs when you get to the third form. That's why I don't answer grammar questions very often. So, and I don't have my cheat sheet in front of me. So the problem is when you learn a language like English, you know all of the grammar and what it's called, but when you are a native speaker, you don't always. So sorry, going to skip that question. Let's see here. Next question. Wait, am I clicking something wrong here? There we go. Katerina from Ukraine. Oh, by the way, let me go back to the chat just to make sure. Good question, Rob. Yeah, hey, I'm going to turn off members only chat, and we'll go back to chat for everybody. Just give me a sec to make that switch. As I do that, I do want to say thank you to all of my members. Again, thank you for supporting my channel. It is very nice of you. Jesus Flores Villa just became a member as I turned members only chat off, but you can still ask a question, Jesus, if you want. But thank you to those of you that join and help me do what I do. It's very nice of you. And I hope that it is helping you learn English. Katerina says, hello, Teacher Bob. I hope you've got a sunny Saturday. Yes, it is a nice Saturday. In fact, it's going to be sunny for the next 7 days. Very sunny here. Could you explain how would it be right to pronounce can't? So it's can't. I can't explain that. I can actually explain it. But if I say, I can't figure out why the sound is crackly. I can't understand why people aren't nice to each other all the time. So I can't. So that's how you would pronounce it, can't, with an A sound in it. Let me see here. I see people in chat saying I'm their favorite teacher. Thank you. I try my best. Let's see. June says, hello, Bob. Wish you were having a wonderful weekend. I wonder how to decline a person if they are offering a loan by phone and I'm really not interested in it. Thanks. So first of all, if someone is calling, we call those telemarketers. It's actually illegal in Canada to phone someone and try to sell them something if you've never done business with them before. So you can't just call someone and try to get them to buy a loan, to get a loan or to buy something. This is how I do it. Sometimes I will ask the person phoning if they could talk to me in French, and then they hang up. But I'm usually not very polite if it is a telemarketer. If I pick up the phone and if it's not someone I know, I usually just hang up. I know that sounds rude. But here's the thing I would tell you. If someone calls you out of the blue, that means you didn't know they were going to call, and they speak English, just talk English with them as long as you can, and then say, no, thank you. Okay, so to answer your question, the best way to say you don't want it, the best way to decline is to simply say, no, thank you. I don't need a loan at this time. Norma says, hi, Bob. Chatting with someone in the U.S. He asked, how come that you can't see it again? That come confused. How come? Oh, yeah. So we a lot of times will say, well, how come you can't understand? How come you didn't eat your food? It just means why. So how come means why. So how come I do my videos outside? Because I like it outside. Why do you do your videos outside? Because I like it outside. So tricky. The English language can be tricky. Yeah, this is, I feel like I'm doing, Michelle from Saudi Arabia, I feel like I'm doing your homework, Michelle. Can you please, can you please, or could you please explain the core point of this sentence? The child-centered ethic has become a justification for every sort of overindulgent practice. So basically what they're saying is that in cultures where we value children, and in cultures where we let children do whatever they want, instead of being parents with lots of rules, we are basically allowing them to overindulge in life. So they basically get everything they want. So basically the main point of that sentence is societies that give their children everything, it just allows them to overindulge and to do too much. So I wonder what you're reading. That's interesting, for sure. Abby says, would you please say the word Wikipedia? So Wikipedia is a website where you can look up things in any language. I recommend you start looking up things in English on Wikipedia. But Wikipedia is how you say it. There's also something called Simple Wikipedia, which is an English version of Wikipedia where the English is just a lot easier to understand. So if you go to simple.wikipedia.com, you will see it there. It's basically the same as Wikipedia, but it's made for English learners. So try that out, simple.wikipedia.com. Let's see here. Next question is from Minami. Let's see here. Minami, my English level cannot go above daily conversation level. What kind of practice do you think I should do? So yeah, that depends. It's hard to know what your level is, and it's hard to know what you need to do to challenge yourself. There's definitely an airplane flying around. But here's what I would suggest. One way to do this would be to take a test to measure your level. So if you take a CEFR test, it has levels A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. Taking a test allows you to determine what level you're at and can help you know what you need to do to study more. Also, booking a test or planning to take a test can make you study more as well. So I hope that helps a little bit. Let's see. Let's go to the next question here. Yes, same question almost from Hemreen from Syria. Hi, Coach Bob. You are a very kind person. I like watching your lessons. How can I jump to the next level of speaking? I don't see any progress. So one thing that can happen is if you are having English conversations with the same person, you might need to have conversations with another person. So if you have, I know this isn't nice, but if you have one teacher online who's helping you with your English, you might want to find another teacher who will challenge you more. As you have conversations with people, you get comfortable with them, and then you get comfortable with them, and then you aren't challenging yourself when you are talking to them. So that's the first thing. And then let's go back to what I said earlier. You could take a test, find out your level, and if you are level B1, then you could find someone to help you learn to talk at a B2 level or a C1 level. Let's see here. Next question from Luciano. Hello, Bob. What is the difference between whether and if? So let me just give you some example sentences. If it starts to rain, I need to go inside, okay? If it rains, I have to go inside. It's not going to rain, but if it rains, I need to go inside. If I'm thirsty, I need to drink some water. When you use the word whether, though, you would say, if I had a roof over my head, I could do this lesson outside whether it rains or not, okay? You could also, in the example of taking a drink, you could say, when I'm thirsty, I can take a drink, but it doesn't matter if I'm it doesn't matter whether I'm thirsty or not thirsty, I can take a drink. So some example sentences for you. I hope those were helpful. Let's see here. Hi, Ratha Angkor. Hi, teacher. I am from Vietnam. Hello, Ratha. Can you help me explain? Can you help me to explain? Can you explain the difference between the American and British accent? I can't. It's just slightly different. What I will tell you is this. Americans watch British films. English people from Britain watch American television. Having an accent and being from Britain or from the US does not stop you from having conversations or watching each other's films and television. Francisco de Forno has given me a super sticker. Thank you very much for the super sticker, and thank you for supporting my channel. It's a guy drinking coffee, it looks like. Thank you, Francisco de Forno. Very, very nice of you. Next question is from Victor Ortiz Jr. Hi, Victor. Thanks for your helpful lessons. I thank God you exist. Haha, I just wonder how to improve my pronunciation so I can speak the closest to a native speaker. So I think the most important thing is to say words out loud as much as you can. Sometimes students will say they want to improve their pronunciation, but they aren't actually having conversations. So if you can meet with someone weekly and have someone who you can have a conversation with in English and tell them you specifically want to work on your pronunciation, that can be very, very helpful. So find a tutor and tell the tutor your goal is to improve your pronunciation, and they should be able to help you. Hey, Sean's here from Free 99 English. Good to see you in the chat, Sean. Hope you're having a good day out there on the east coast of Canada. Good to see you. David Ying has given me a super sticker as well. Thank you so much, David, for the super sticker. That is nice of you. Let me get to the next question from Tony Lay. Says, hello, Bob. How can I improve my English writing practice? Thanks. So one of the things with writing is you don't always know if you're doing it wrong. So you should certainly be writing a lot in English. Write a daily journal at the end of the day. Keep a diary. But it is helpful for sure to have someone correct your writing from time to time, or to simply use something like Google Docs, which will show you your spelling mistakes and some of, I think, your grammar mistakes. So yes, definitely find a way to write yourself, do some personal writing, but also make sure that you have someone correct your writing. It can be hard to find someone to do that, but if you take an English class at your local college or university, or a night class, you might have a teacher who will do that. Let's see here. All of the different words to use live. So hi Bob, so great to join your live show. Can live be used as an adverb? So I'm doing this live. This is a live show. I live in Canada. I live on a farm. You can use live in a lot of different ways. It's kind of a funny part of speech. Let me look up all of the definitions of live for a sec, because it is certainly a fun word. So definitely it just is a verb to be alive. So, you know, I live, that would be a short form of it. So tricky. Let's see here. The program was shown live. So there you go. There's an example for you of using live in another way. So this is a live stream. I'm doing this live. You could say the show was done live. So there you have live modifying the verb. Tricky word. Next question from Kwok from Vietnam. When do you come to Vietnam? Not anytime soon. I'm not sure when I will be coming to Vietnam. Maybe someday. We'll see. Next question is from Alice. Hi, Alice. Hey, Teacher Bob, thanks. There are so many English expressions, slangs in English TV series. I just wonder how natives can use different expressions when saying the same thing. So first of all, much of the slang that you will hear on TV is used in everyday life. It's not often that I watch a Canadian or American television show and I think, wow, they're using a lot of slang. They actually just talk the way we actually talk. So there aren't always alternative phrases. Sometimes the language you hear on a TV show, if it's a current show, is actually the language that you hear us speak daily. So Todd's around somewhere. He's maybe checking something. We were trying to figure out why my audio was a little I'm gonna have to figure out what happened there when this live stream is done. Let's see here. Next question is from Felipe. Why did you leave your career as a developer? So a little fix there to the sentence. Why did you leave your career as a developer? So as I mentioned in a few other lessons, live streams, I have been a high school teacher for over 20 years. But for a while, I was a web programmer or a web developer. So I worked on the side. So I had a job as a teacher, but I did some programming. I programmed in PHP. I used MySQL or MySQL, depending on how you say it. I left because there was too much support involved. So when you build things for people, when you build software for people, they need support, and there was just too much support for me. I did not enjoy that part of it. Next question, Lucia de Fatima. Hey Bob, could you explain how to answer when someone says okay, so WhatsApp is actually an app on your phone, and in English people say what's up. Okay, so there's a difference here. You have in your question the word WhatsApp or WhatsApp. That is an app that you have on your phone. Okay, and it's a little bit of play on words, because in English we'll say to someone, hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? This is a common thing to ask people. If you have been told that we don't say that in English, we do. Okay, I will probably hear someone say what's up a few times a week. Hey, what's up? What are you up to? The right way to answer that is what's up is to say not much. I know it sounds like a funny exchange, right? Hey, what's up? Not much. But that is a very, very common answer. If someone says what's up, you could describe what you're doing. If you were at work, you could say, if someone says what's up, you can say, oh, I'm just finishing up the latest project for Joe or something like that. But that would be, you could literally just answer by describing what you're doing. What's up? Oh, I'm just having lunch. What's up? I'm doing a live stream. Let's see here. Next question. Oh, wait, I think I just clicked. 1 sec, people. Bob the Canadian is clicking the wrong things. Ashraf Hussein says, could you explain the difference between a lot, lots, and a lot of, please? So I have a lot of kids, so I have to use a lot of. Okay, I have 5 kids. I have a lot of kids. I have a lot of fun when I do these live streams. So a lot of is always followed by a noun, right? I have a lot of kids. I have a lot of dogs. I have a lot of cats. When you say that you like something a lot, it means that you like it a lot. That's not a good description. You really like it, okay? So I like Jen a lot. So that is a way to end a sentence to say that you like someone very much. So I could say, I like sitting in the shade a lot. I like going shopping a lot. And then if you say lots of people, or there are lots, oh, there were lots of people at that event, it simply means that there were more. So there's a few example sentences, please. Next question, let's see. All of a sudden, Oscar decided to bark for no reason. I'm not sure why. Now he's barking at the house. I think he's going a little bit crazy. He's not that old, but anyways. Next question here from Lucas. Hey Bob, your way of teaching is so productive and hard to find on YouTube. How did you come up with this idea of learning by practicing way of teaching? This is just how I teach. There's nothing special about it. This is how I teach my classes at school. I'm very conversational when I can be, and I like to know. I don't know. I just try to be very practical. And if you really need to know, I make English videos because I wish someone made French videos the same way. I wish someone would make a French video for me about going and buying gas at the gas station. By the way, there is a video where I go to the gas station and buy gas. So I think that's what it is really from, is I like to be practical. And sometimes I make videos because I wish the video existed in French. Let's go to the next question. Carlos Pereira, hi Bob. I wonder if you have some Canadian slang words for money. I heard some words like tenner and fiver and bucks, etc. Yeah, so you know, the other day I went to the store and I bought something that cost 20 bucks. When you say to someone, hey, can I borrow $10 from you? You could say, do you have a tenner or a fiver I could borrow? It's pretty rare for someone my age to use those kinds of words, but certainly those are some. But yeah, bucks, we use bucks a lot, like 20 bucks, 30 bucks. Yeah, you know, it's 30 bucks for a couple pizzas now. It's getting expensive. So we definitely use the word bucks. Let's see here. So we have talk and speak again. Remember I said earlier, when you talk to someone, you can also say you speak to them. So I like to speak to my kids once in a while. I like to talk to my kids. Speak is a little more like, it's less of a conversation actually though. I didn't mention that earlier. When I speak to my kids, I'm doing most of the talking. When I talk to my kids, we're both talking. So they're very much similar. But when you talk about a language, you always say that you speak that language. So I speak English and I speak French. Let's see here. Juanvi Marco, hi Bob. I like very much seeing your videos from Spain. So I added a few corrections there. When Canadians take their holidays, usually thank you. Canadians do holiday in Spain, definitely. Portugal, Spain, south of France, those are becoming more popular destinations for Canadians. Most of the time, Canadians go to the United States, but when you have a little more money, you can go to Europe. And Spain has certainly become a destination for people going on vacation. Norma says the dog was complaining. Yes, for sure. Let's do one more question. Yaron Hernandez, how rude is it to call someone weird? It's rude. Yeah, if you say you're weird, it's not very nice. But if you know the person well, you can say that someone's weird in a nice way. Like if you say, you know, you're weird, but I like you. That's something, you know, if there's two people dating, and the guy and the girl says to the guy, you know, you're a little bit strange, but I like you, then it's fine. But generally, 99% of the time, if you say someone is weird, it's not very nice. It means you don't think they're normal, and it's not a kind thing to say. Yeah, let's do, let me see here. I'm just going to pick one more question. I'm just kind of sorting through. Sorry, I'm not going to get to all the questions today. Let's see here. Masato, hello, Bob-san. Oh, I got the san at the end of my name. Question from Japan. Would you give me some examples for replying to how are you this morning? I always reply good. I wish I could say something cool. Well, you know what? Yeah, probably 9 times out of 10 when someone says how are you this morning, I say good. So that is a correct answer. And even though you feel like you would like other ways to say it, that is definitely how we say it. So how are you this morning? Good, pretty good, not too bad. So how are you this morning? Good. How are you this morning? Not too bad. How are you this morning? Pretty good. All of those would be very, very common answers to that question. Hey, folks, that's it. It has been 1 hour. Thank you so much for all of you. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. It is fun to help you learn just a little bit of English. By the way, yesterday we did a lesson on summer. So if you search for Bob the Canadian Summer, you can find that lesson. It was a pretty good lesson. I liked it. It made me want to eat ice cream. So if you have not watched that lesson, you could go back and watch it if you had time. But I do want to say thank you to everyone who's here. Don't forget to click the red subscribe button if you are new here. I do a new English lesson every Tuesday, live stream every Friday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and live question and answer session, which you are at right now, at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time as well. Thanks for all of you who are members. If you want to support my channel, there is a join button below. I appreciate it, and thank you very much for doing that. Thanks to Todd and Dave for being here and moderating the chat. Thanks for Sean popping in from Free 99 English. Thanks to Brent from American English with This Guy for hanging out in the chat as well. And I hope all of you are having a good day. And that's it. I think I'm done. I'm going to click end stream, and then I'm going to try and figure out why my microphone was crackly today, because I'm not sure why. But I think I'll figure